Everybody.
It's always a crapshoot of who's going to talk first, right?
Yeah. Everyone stayed still and everything. Before I started the live stream and then have our intro playing, I told everyone to all right, we're about to go live. Don't pick your nose. So and then we join, and then we're all just quiet and not picking our nose or doing anything, just sitting there.
Well, tonight we are welcoming Michelle Gray for us tonight. She's a oh my God. Sorry, I got a cold right now and I'm just trying to get through it. She is a clairvoyant, a medium, and psychic. And she will be spending the next hour or so with us and chatting about what she does, how she came to be, and what she does.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah. No pressure.
I still have problems with titles. I understand that I can do those things, so therefore I am those things. But then when someone asks me, I do some podcasts, and they're like, so tell us about yourself. And I'm like, I'm weird and I hear voices, but don't lock me up. They're good voices. Don't tell me to do bad things.
Well, you're on the right show for that.
And it's just crazy, the things. And the more I learn, the more I realize all of the oddities when I was growing up, they were just all part of it. I wish I had known back then what I know now, because where would I be now? How many people could I have helped, in my, which I feel like I did help people without knowing I was helping people, but now it's just man, I'm so hungry for knowledge now that it's an overload, because as I get older, more and more things start happening and coming to me. And it's an overload. Sometimes you're just I don't know which way to go. So I just literally quit thinking about it. I'll read a little bit on this or listen to something on this, but trying to just pick a topic. Yeah.
Wow.
How did it all start for you? How did you all of a sudden you start hearing voices and you're like, what's going on? When did that start?
So the voices started happening in my late teens, early 20s. So by the time I was, my youngest daughter would have been born. So by the time I was 23, was when I really thought I had schizophrenia. I worked at a club at night and I would be driving home, and I remember hearing things all the time and just, saying, God, please just let me not break until the kids are grown. Just let me survive this. Because, we're talking early 2000s. If you still go to the doctor and say, I hear voices, you're getting pilled up. They're going to lock you up. I didn't want to lose my kids.
Yeah.
So I just thought I had schizophrenia. So I would just pray all the time, don't crack. My daughter was a year old when it hit me really hard. And then I was dealing with, not getting enough sleep because I had 3 young kids and I was working all night and I had a day job and I was in PTA and homeroom mom. And I was trying to do everything, So one man. So it was just exhausting. And then I would see things on the side of the road, like figures of humans and things like that. And I thought, well, I need to go to the doctor and at least tell them I'm seeing things. And they would say it was sleep deprivation, that, I was seeing objects because I was exhausted, and maybe it was, but now I look back and think I was so tired I could actually see them, because now I've hit a really strong wall to where I can't see things that I know I have the ability to see, because I could when I was younger. So now I'm trying to. Oh, I thought he was on his own podcast, but I guess he's not. So, hey, Tim. But so now I'm just kind of trying to figure it all out. What was real back then and what wasn't real back then, and how can I take the things that I naturally learned back then and put them with what I have knowledge of now. But yeah, 20s was the voices. I've always since birth been able to had like night terrors, and there was an ashtray incident with my mom that when I was a baby. So she may argue with me about the story, but this is how I remember being told the story. We had like a little townhouse or something like that, and she had put me to bed, dry fed, we've all done it, put the baby to bed, and they scream, you let them scream it out a little bit, but evidently I didn't like that very much, so she refused to go get me, and I screamed, and her ashtray, those big old heavy glass ashtrays, just cracked into thirds. And she said it scared her, and she went and grabbed me, and I'm pretty sure she didn't do that again. But just weird little stuff, which that's never happened to me. It's not like I go around breaking things with my mind. But children are so powerful. When they're little, they're so very powerful. And so I don't know, but that's the story, and she sticks with it. So I do too now.
Wow.
And it's just, little things like that, auras and so
that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
To have that much energy to crack the ashtray.
It's hard to own that if I did do that. It's hard to say, yes, I threw a fit and put so much power out that the ashtray. And she said she checked it for seams and cracks, and she said it didn't have anything.
Wow.
But a person that wants to at least consider herself relatively sane, it's hard to think that a baby could do that. So yeah, it's just weird. In dreams my whole life, premonitions my whole life. But really? It was just, when you're not around it, it's just like, oh, ha, 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 look what happened. It's not, you don't really put it together. And now things are starting to put together. And, as I get older, memories come back that I didn't even remember about youth. And now they're coming back, and I'm like, oh my God, I had forgotten all about that. I turned 47 yesterday. And
happy birthday.
Yay!
Yeah. So I spent all last night dreaming, having insane dreams. So then today all day I'm sitting here trying to break them apart, because it's just a tradition that every birthday or the week of my birthday, I'll have these insane dreams all week. So then I have to go through and say, what are dreams that I'm stressing over what is about to happen or what has happened? What dreams are actually dreams telling me this is a way that you need to go, or which dreams are just BS because I had too much caffeine or snuck a candy bar I probably shouldn't have too close to bed. So, was it a Snickers or was it a So, yeah, but it's interesting. And now I'm in the corporate world with some doing a few things, so that's a lot of fun. So
wow.
Explain to us exactly how you're a corporate consultant, paranormal consultant. What is that?
Okay, so I go in with some companies, it's word of mouth, things like this, people I've worked with in the past, and when you're going to do a merger or a deal, or you're just doing business with someone you don't know, how you just have that feeling, you're like, there's just something in there, and I wish I knew a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I just go in, I sit in the boardroom, or I sit, somewhere where I can hear. They'll put me on some kind of speaker or something. I blend in and I just watch. I watch and I listen. And, I've got to say it's probably 50-50 of me observing the person. And the other part is more just having words or, just thoughts about what's going on in a situation. For example, I'm not going to say a time frame because that might actually give away what was going on. But recently in the past, I was called in because a company that I've worked with before said, we are missing something. This is a huge, $1 million negotiation, and we just cannot, put what it is. We've done the research. Everything looks kosher. We just don't know. So they brought me in. I sat there with my laptop, I think I was playing like that old Galaxy Galactica or something. I don't even whatever I could pull up to look extremely busy. And I kept having words go to me. So I would jot down, words. And there was a particular word that came up. And I just kept circling it and circling it and circling it. I just kept coming back to it. So I told him, I said, at the end, we all excused ourselves and we went into our own conference. And he's like, so what's up? And I said, well, this particular word kept coming up. So you need to look this company up or this word up. You need to figure out what this particular word has to do with this particular organization. So they dug deeper and deeper into it. And it was a company, a shell corporation that this particular person had started years ago and had embezzled a ton of money and gotten all kinds of trouble with the comptroller. But they had managed to finagle it around to where it wasn't in their particular, resume and portfolio. So by me having that word, then what's happening? I think that what is going on is the person who's being shady in the back of their mind is going, ooh, I hope they don't find this or that or this. And I think that they are thinking so hard about not letting that out that it just comes out so strong. I'm able to pick it up. And that's my thought. And then it may just be, my guardians or other people's guardians or guides or whatever informing us of something that they know. But I personally think that if people didn't have guilt or weren't shady, I wouldn't be able to do it. But because they're just trying so hard to be deceitful, I think I just read it. So yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, no problem, Jackie.
We understand.
But like that kind of makes me think about how like when someone will say, if you keep thinking of negative thoughts, negative things will happen to you. If you think positive things will keep happening to you,
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me think about that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah. And it's funny, the whole thing started. I had a good friend back in the day, and he was like, I just want you to come in and just come in and look like you're important because I just need more bodies at the table. So this was before tattoos and all of this, I was this little somewhat meek and mild looking female. And I just sat there in my little cardigan and sat there. And I was like, I think he's, we went to break and I was like, he's lying about something. And he's like, what? And I was like, I don't know, but it's got to do with the red folder and all of this kind of stuff. And then it just grew. And he's like, he calls me like 3 weeks later and he's like, oh my God, we found the red folder and all of this stuff. And he's like, hey, can I just like give you $200 to come sit in the rooms with me? And I was like, sure. All day. And then I didn't do anything with it for a long time, got the kids grown and they went off on their own. And then I came across him at a gala, and he's like, "Oh, y'all wouldn't believe what she can do." And they're all, when they're talking about making money or saving money, they're all ears. So it just kind of got started. But you have to be so very careful, because there's no real, like, I mean, back in the day, kings had seers and guides and things like that. But in modern day, they just don't really have that. And when you think about what are the legalities of that, what could a really creative person, so everything is completely, cash or, whatever. So
yeah. Wow.
Yes, I do pay my taxes on it. Just that. Uncle Sam gets his quarter out of it.
Talk to us about automatic writing.
That's fun. I used to call it doodling. Remember how everything was doodling when we draw like our little smiley faces in the corners of everything and
flowers,
that are our math. Yeah. So I just doodled. And then I was talking to somebody about my doodles, and they're like, that's called remote writing and reading and stuff. And I was like, what? So then I started doing it, and it is amazing. Like, any medium who doesn't do it is really missing out, because when you have multiple spirits coming through, it's like, and someone called me out on this from, I think it was my last interview, or the last one that just dropped. I don't know, the last one or the one before that dropped. I had said that I can't see the people or something like that. But I just want to clarify that. I can't see them with my eyes, but I see them in my mind. Mm-hmm. So when I say I can't see them like a fleshy human, but I can see them in my mind like a fleshy human. I'm not using my normal eyes. I guess my third, I don't know. I don't want to get into all that technical stuff, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know, so I got all sidetracked thinking about that BS message I got, but and I can get them, let me tell you. So when they're coming through, I can tell who is saying what. So when I just worked with Night Owl podcast in Austin. We did a big investigation. Actually, the part 3 is coming out the 29th. It's being released. And I'm in that whole episode. I had a bunch coming through, so I was able to like put one here, do the corners, and then one in the middle. So when one would speak, I could categorize what it was going. Where before I started knowing how to do it, it was just trying to keep everything lined out, and it was so much harder. Plus, there's no retention, really. So like if we go on an investigation and things are coming through and I'm saying things, I'm not catching it in the middle for long-term memory. I'm going to say whatever's coming out, and then I'm going to process it, and when it clicks, when I've done it accurately, it's going to drop. It's not going to stay within my retention, because I could not humanly keep everything that comes through in my brain, or I would be locked up, because you would go mad. It's too much information. It would be like being waterboarded by spirits.
Wow.
It's just too much. You just drowned. So by somehow me not having the long term of it. Now, if I'm reminded of something, I can remember key things. But like, oh, did you remember what color shoes you said that woman had on? Nope. You better record everything I say, because I'm not going to remember it. So yeah, but that's the remote writing. Anybody who is getting a lot of information, write it down, draw, and you'll come up with your own symbols and your own shorthand. So you're really missing out if you're not.
So is this kind of like when people do when you see psychics or something, always have a pad of paper with them and do scribing or writing and stuff over and over, because that's the way that they can pick up the messages? Is that kind of?
I think it's just I can't speak for others, but from what I have viewed in others and for myself, it's a way of helping to process it. Because like for myself, when messages are coming through, you can't take the first thing that I say as gospel. You have got to let my brain process it. You know, it may come through like a banana, and then it may end up being a ice cream parlor, just because the experiences that I've had in my life are going to help me register things, but then my brain will start figuring out
Organizing
exactly.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Rubik's Cube of information. You know, I get it, and then it starts out this mess. And then if you just let me process, then it will come out to where it's supposed to be. But it's amazing. And I've seen other mediums and things do that. It's amazing how each one of us process things so differently. There is no right or wrong. It is just for yourself. People have asked me all the time, how do I do this? And I'm like, you just have to figure it out. Like, you can learn a few key things that can help you, but you have to figure out your own process, because none of us, it's like a fingerprint. None of us are the same. And anyone who says that they're just like this person or they're acting just like someone else, I'm going to call it on that one. Nobody's going to get a reading every time they go to a house. No paranormal group is going to get a hit every stinking hour or every minute of an investigation. You're going to get, it's like a photographer. You're going to take 2,000 pictures and you're going to get one damn picture out of that thing. Yeah. And that is it. In paranormal investigating or mediumship or anything is the same way. It is hooky as hell. But you know, if the people that I see do it right, and I don't like to watch a bunch of those shows because it really angers me on a lot of them, because I'm like, you're just manipulating people for money. You know, you're lying. I like the way that the Long Island medium does it, because she's so smart. She never hardly does it just one person. She'll take a room and then she'll get a reading off of somebody. That is the right way to do it, because you can get a hit in one room with massive amount of people, because there will always something will come through if you're open. But if you're just in there, if I'm just in there with you, Carla, and you're wanting something, it may or may not hit. Right. I would be a fake if I said, absolutely, I'm going to get a hit off of you. I may be able to guide you in some kind of life experience. Like if you want to talk about a relationship or your job, talk to me and I may be able to guide you in a direction. But as far as like Grandpappy Thomas coming through, you know, that I can't special order through. I can't say.
What do you mean I can't talk to Grandma?
Yeah, I know. Grandpappy, come to me. That's for movies. That's not how.
Grandpappy's busy over in outer space checking out.
Drinking moonshine and, you know, playing with the planets. But yeah, that's just, it's not how it is. And I make sure I tell everyone, I will gladly take your money, but I will not lie to you and tell you that I will definitely get a reading. I can promise you, if you're open-minded, you will leave gaining something, but I cannot promise you what you're going to get. Life is not that way. This is not something that I choose to, well, I mean, I choose to do it, but I openly choose to share it. I can't help but do it, but I openly choose to share, because a lot of people who don't talk about it have the ability. I think that it's, you know, I'm a big advocate for working with mental health care providers who are open-minded, who will tell you, I do believe that you need some medication for this, or say, perhaps we need to look toward another thing. Because if I had gone to the shrink when I was in my 20s, they would have filled me full of drugs. And then when they weren't working, because that wasn't what was wrong with me, they would have increased it and they would have increased it and they would have increased it and changed it. And then I would have spent the last 20 years highly medicated. Yeah. Now, I have a friend who has schizophrenia. She hears voices that tell her to do bad things. You know, I never tell her to listen to her voices. I tell her to take her meds because she's not driving. And, you know, so that's just how it has to be. You have to have the knowledge and the information to know the difference between, and there's no shame in either one. If you have a chemical imbalance or hereditary issue, there's no shame in that, you know, but there's also no shame in hearing voices and it just being paranormal.
I know Jamie, she brought up a question. She goes, why is certain mediums always sense a child who needs to go to their parents? Doesn't matter the location or who they are with.
Is she talking like if you're in a grocery store and you just know, or is she talking about a spirit child? Like a real child or a spirit child?
I'll pop it up when she types.
Because you gotta be kind of, are we talking fleshy or,
she said spirit.
Oh yeah.
Why is it
I don't know if I have an answer for that, because okay, so like I'm trying not to give away the show because I don't know if he's going to bring it up in the podcast, but I don't think he's really, because that wasn't why I was there. So on the last podcast, there was a child there, a little boy. Sorry, Steve, if I'm letting the cat out of the bag, but there was a little boy there named Henry, and we had some interactions, and I don't usually, okay, so when I'm in investigation, say, you know, we're there, we're all investigating, usually the spirits will not let me ask them questions and they will answer me. Somebody else will have to ask the question and I will have the answer. I rarely on investigations am able to ask the question and receive the answer. I have to facilitate the answer when
so
someone
you're like your own little built-in Estes method.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the only investigation that I've been at that I had full conversations with the child. He, in fact, the kind of the head guy with the Night Owl podcast, he actually saw my pants move in when the little boy hugged my leg. Like he didn't get the camera out quick enough, but he could actually see my pants ended out on this loose cotton pants. And he could actually see the leg move in, and I could feel the child holding on to me. I can't usually talk to them like we're talking, but I could with this child. But he was extremely connected to me, and he was very lonely and very sad. He was the only one out of a bunch of children, like orphan children, who worked there. It was like, you know, they would adopt him and they would work. And the home, he was in the attic area, which the man had turned into a music area. And he said, this is where we sleep in winter, or we would sleep on the porch in the summer, but the porch is gone. And it had been turned into like an addition to the house. So he said, I just sleep here. So I knew that he needed to go because he missed his friends. So, and he would say, I missed his friends, but I don't ever know that a child needs to go to their parents. Like, I can't say that has ever came to me that I need to send them to a particular person. I just know that they need to be released. And I'm not usually the one that sends them away. That's another person. I'm just the answerer. I just have the answer. Yeah. It's a real team with me. Wow. I need people who have their department because it's not mine. And I don't really feel like I need to. You know, there are people for that. Everyone has their specialty. So I don't have to be a one-man show. I can say, this is what I do. Can you come and help? And you do this part because this is what you're good at. Because really, all we're here for is to get the good answers and to help the ones that need to be helped. Right. You know, it's not about who can do what and can I do it all? And it's my show. It's not about that. It's about let me do my part and you come and help me, or I help you to get the end goal that we need.
I don't know if you caught Jamie's comment.
I've been with a medium who's seen a child out of jail.
And then she says it's weird to me.
Huh. It's weird that I don't cross them to their parents, or that she always crosses them to their parents.
I think she meant she.
The
Not
medium
you.
she's talking to.
Yeah, not you.
I never, as of now, I've never had a situation where they're going to go to their parents. I tend to have the children who don't have the parents. In Glen Rose, it was a little blind boy that he was scared of the man who ran the whatever home they lived in. I actually found his toys in that one. I asked the lady if there was a tin with jacks and a baseball card, and there's something else in there I can't remember. But and then at that house also, a suicide came through. A teenage boy. We were actually there with his mother, and boy, that one's still hard. I was just, he did it on the back covered patio. Was like, that was his room or something. And he had done that. And it wasn't as if he had taken over my body, but I had taken over his emotion. And I just, I had this overwhelming guilt, and just hugged her and embraced her and apologized for doing it. Like, it was just, and he said, I tried to stop it, but it was too late. And so, they haunt you. They stay with you forever. I never have been one to want to leave this earth. I love life, and I love the adventures of what will come through the next day, and it's, when you're dealing with these people who, there are people that have hope and never lose it no matter. And then there are people who lose hope and lose it all the time. And it's just kind of, some do, some don't. And I've always been one that can never lose hope. And to feel a teenager that lost hope. Yeah. It's just, it's something I don't know how to process, because I've never had those feelings. So it's very hard. And I think that's the worst, is when they come to you and you have to feel their pain that they felt on earth and that they're still feeling. It's just it's just a lot.
Yeah.
So Jamie has a follow-up. How do you separate yourself from those feelings?
Generally, when I leave a situation, I have done everything that I possibly can at that site. Or if I don't feel I have, I reach out to people that I think could complete whatever mission I couldn't. But still, some people just touch you. And whether they are skinned or not skinned, they are still human. Yeah. I do not believe that just because we are always us, whether we are here with skin or there without, we are still us. I believe that the values change because we don't have all the BS that we have here. We don't have the pressure there. We don't have all of that there. So I think we do change, but we are still corely ourselves. If you are a crap person here, you're going to be a crap person there. That's just, in my opinion, that's just how it is. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I'm still doing it. I try to separate. I feel when I leave that I've done everything I can and I let go, but some people just touch your heart or your soul, and you don't ever let go in life or death. You just don't let go of those. And that boy, I hope that by me telling his mother, that by embracing her, that he was able to go wherever he needed to go, or off to his next life, or to heaven, or wherever, because I don't think there's one answer. Yeah. I just can't. What kind of medium am I? I have no idea. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what kind of medium I am. I just do what I do. So I don't know. I didn't even know there were different types of mediums. What are different types of mediums?
Yeah. There's a lot.
Well, I like because I was thinking back earlier about how you said like how usually the week of your birthday you start to get those dreams, and that just makes me think about how there's types of hauntings where someone that was maybe killed on this day, like the years to follow every day on that same day every year, like they seem to be seen, kind of like a residual, like, and that's what made me think about what you said about how you said you had those dreams the week of your birthday, and like maybe like something opens up to you that week of your birthday, like, you know what I'm trying to say, like it
Oh yeah, absolutely.
comes to you.
I think that for me, my birthday is for some reason, and I've been told since I was, when I was 16, I moved to California, got married, and got to, be around all kinds of people I never was in East Texas, and I was told back then that there was something very important about when I was born, because I was born in 2/14/77. So for some reason, and for so many different people throughout my life, they've said, oh, what a very important, not because it was Valentine's Day or anything, but something about the numbers, or, it was very important. And for me, it's almost like, you see in like Indiana Jones movies and stuff where things just start ticking and they just kind of fit to get to a certain, that's kind of how I feel every year. I know what birthdays are going to be the most important birthdays. I knew my 46th birthday was going to be extremely important. And I knew that my 47th and my 48th were going to be very instrumental to what I was going to do in my 50th. My 50s will be, just like doors opening, because I don't know why, but that's just how it is. It feels like it's ticking. It's like, pay attention. Every year it twists a little bit more to show something. And I think a lot of us have dreams like I have. I just think we either ambient it away, or we, drink it away, or we smoke it away, or whatever, and we just chalk it off to having a weird dream. But the first thing that I ask someone when they're having this, oh, I'm having this issue or whatever, I say, are we getting close to an anniversary of a death, an anniversary of a birth? I don't understand birthdays because they're actually anniversaries, but we'll call them birthdays. But a birthday after the first day you're born is actually an anniversary of the day you were born. So I don't know your birthday, because it's actually an anniversary, but because you're celebrating that day every year. So, I always ask that, because you're right. It is kind of, there are times where things happen, and a lot of the time they're able to pinpoint, oh, well, my dad died in a week, or we're coming up on the anniversary. And I go, well, you need to think about that. And a lot of times they can figure out their own, because they just needed that missing piece to figure everything out.
Wow.
That's all. Let me drink some more creamer that's been wetted by coffee. And
oh yeah, I do it the same way.
Yeah, if I didn't need to like moisten the sugar and creamer, coffee wouldn't even be a necessity. Yeah, that's important.
Go, Jamie Lynn.
Yeah.
It's important that we do.
Yeah, I heard a theory the other day that the people who don't celebrate their birthday live longer and age slower, because every time that you have a birthday, you're acknowledging the fact that you are older, and you're manifesting yourself getting older every time you celebrate your birthday.
Interesting. Didn't like Prince?
That's why we drink.
Didn't Prince not celebrate his birthday? And he looked still young.
He did look really young.
Mm-hmm.
I think his genetics. His mother looked incredibly young too.
Ah.
But yeah, it could be. Who knows? Prince. I think I would have liked to have talked to Prince.
He would have been interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he would have been a cool dude. Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
He likes to be mysterious.
That in the Rat Pack. I would have loved to have sat
Oh,
down
for sure.
the Rat Pack.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Maddie.
Because they saw Vegas when Vegas was
Oh,
really
yeah.
getting smashed out.
Yeah.
So that's when all the bodies were fresh. And it must have been like heavy haunted back during Rat Pack days with the whole mafia and all that. Because now there's so much, the 5G and all the electricity and the lights and all of that. I mean, I think it gets to a point where the electricity gets too strong for the spirits. It's like when I lived in Fort Worth and still had the house in Granbury, I got my house, there was nothing going on. It was so quiet. But then I move out here to the country, well, kind of the country. And it's like I get all kinds of stuff. So I think it was just too much power. Just like Vegas now, I feel like Vegas has just got too much power. They're just, overloaded.
Too much
Lights,
energy.
for sure.
Too many people.
But they'd have been all fresh and gooey back then. So we would have got some good stuff.
Yeah.
So I know that you had talked about that you don't per se like ghost hunt or investigate too much, but I was just wondering your theories on like accompanying virtually an investigation. Are you able to?
I can actually usually see what's going on or talk about. I can remote view to a site. I don't mind going on them. I'm just never invited to them. And I'm not one of the ones.
Enter us. Enter us.
Well, I mean, I'll go out with y'all, but I don't like to. When I was with the group that I first started out with, that I guess they actually, well, they didn't. Let me rephrase this. They didn't break me out in it. I had a girlfriend. Her husband or ex-husband knew my now ex-husband, and so that kind of thing. And she back in 2016-ish said, "I'm with this group. You have got to come out and show people what you can do." And I was like, hell to the no on that. I'm not going to tell somebody in Granbury, Texas that I talk to spirits and hear voices. They'll lock me up and kick me out of town. And she's like, no, really? Yeah. And she's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. They're all, yeah. And she said, no, this is an actual paranormal group. And I was like, okay. When I got there, it wasn't exactly, it went well, but it didn't go as well as I thought. There was some drinking going on. I don't approve of that. No. And I mean, you can tear it up afterwards, but during investigation, I'm very particular about things because I believe in integrity in the site. As a medium, I don't want to even know the location. You can tell me a town because I need to know where to drive. But don't tell me anything. I want to know what structure it is. I don't want to know I want to know nothing. I believe there should be one person in the group that does the research. The medium should never be the one that does the research. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that makes me mad on these damn TV shows. They bring these mediums in and they bring the mediums in on the meetings before they even get to the site. And I'm like, that whole investigation, in my opinion, is shot. Yeah. That's it. The minute you're medium, because we are human, if you give us something, our brain was naturally going to start pulling conclusions prior to being there. A medium going into investigation should not know anything except what type of shoes to wear. That is it. Are we going to wear slickers or are we going to wear flip-flops? you know, just tell me what kind of shoes, and if I need to bring a jacket, that's all I need to know. You know, and I bring dirt with me, which is my weirdest thing. I have to have dirt. I have to either know that there is clean dirt there that is not going to make me pick up something or get a worm in my foot. And so a lot of times I have a piece of copper that came from some electrical wire, and I have a Tupperware of dirt, and I just have to ground myself. I just pick the little copper and I put it in the ground, and I've grounded my dirt, and I just have to be able to get to dirt. And, you know, you got to do certain things, but these shows that tell their mediums everything, come on, you're killing me. Don't do this.
So Jamie Lynn said, have you ever gone to a supposedly haunted location and never had someone come through?
I'm a coward. I don't go to scary places. I don't go to scary places ever. Like, it's not happening.
Oh, bye, Jamie. Aw.
I
But
do.
what if we remove the word haunted? What if you went to a
the whole world is
location where there was an investigation and nobody came through?
It is possible, but I'll get something usually. If there's something there, I'll get something. I'll get an echo. I'll get, you know, I'll see an object. I'll know wallpaper, just weird stuff. Like one, I went to one investigation. It was just me and the guy that had the last group I was in. And, went in, there was a hutch, no spirits came through, but I found a gun, I found a will. I told her what was in a hut, like a curio in the little girl's room, and she was like, no. And I said there was Norman Rockwell bells and cups in this, and she's like, oh, we have, I can't remember if she had the bells or the cups, but she's like, well, I have that, but there was none of that else in there. Well, a couple months later, she calls the guy back and says, I talked to my aunt, and my aunt actually has the other one. So, you know, but no spirits came through, but objects came through. And then we were on another investigation, and some people came through, oddly enough, to pick up a couch. Like in the middle of the investigation, they're picking up a couch in the garage, and it's a man and a woman, and they walked through, and I was like, hate to bother you, but are you missing a truck? And he's like looking at me, and I'm like, I didn't steal it. I'm just, let's start this over again.
Yeah.
I'm a paranormal investigator. I also find missing things sometimes. And he's like, his wife's like, found our truck. And I'm like, listen. So that went through, and I, you know, she's calling total BS on this. And then he's like, you know, this big old burly dude. And he's like, I'll check it out. I was like, I hate to tell. I'm like, how much do you want to know? And he's like, oh, I'll just hear it all, you know. Like, get out of here, you know. And I was like, and I told him, you know, where the gun was, and that a relative had actually taken the truck and where it was hidden. And come to find out, it was true. But I have to be careful, like, or I'm gonna end up in jail. And I had no alibi. Because I don't even know what day it happened, and I can't remember where my keys are from day to day. So I can't remember what day they're going to want me. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Probably at Lowe's. Check Lowe's because I'm at Lowe's. It's either going to be Lowe's or Sonic or the Goodwill store. So check surveillance. So
Yeah,
it's crazy. But I mean, I like to go out. I like to go in first. No machines. That thing that makes that white noise, I want to smash
the spirit box.
Spirit box.
Smash that thing. Because I also feel vibrations from everything. Like, I'm sorry, my cat has joined the.
Yay, I love kitties.
Yeah. This is June.
Tuxedo.
Who she feels like we are taking up her time here.
Yeah. Hi, kitty.
At least the Kraken hasn't woke up. She's still in there asleep. Her name is Marigold, but her nickname is the Kraken.
Oh.
So the Kraken is still asleep. But she will do zoomies over the whole thing.
Yay.
I don't remember what we're talking about, but
usually,
I can't handle the vibration of that thing.
Yeah.
It's just
It
too
is
much.
loud.
It puts off the strongest vibration.
Yeah.
Every time it goes up, 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 it's like stabbing me, and I just want to fight. Like I want to
Yeah.
fight the box.
It sounds like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the pot.
Ooh. And it doesn't matter the volume. You could turn it low, and the pressure to me is still the same. It still just bangs at you. But I like the Ovilus. I enjoy that one. I get a lot from that one.
Yeah, I have that
Mm-hmm.
now. Yay!
But other than that, I just go in. I like to go in before everybody and just say what I say and then go home. I'm not in it for the all-nighter. I just like to go in and get whatever information I can and go home. Go to bed by 10. But y'all hang in there. Like, I give paranormal investigators, I give y'all all the kudos because y'all are in it to win it. Like, you're there till like 2, 3 in the morning. I'm already drooling on my pillow by the time y'all are like wrapping it up. Or I've gone to some investigations where I'm literally asleep in the car or the truck or whatever. Because when I'm done doing a reading, it is no energy. Like I can't. A lot of times, if it's a really good one and I'm linked in for a while, I'll be completely energized. I will be, not a bit tired, but the minute everything that can be gotten is done, I'm just like, get me in some dirt, not under the dirt, but just give my feet in the dirt and let me lay down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I enjoy it. I just don't get a lot of calls. And, we only have, well, there's 2 that I know of here, but I've only worked with one, and I'm not going to probably work with that one again. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you something, and what made me think about it was your very first comment about the ashtray cracking was poltergeist activity. Have you ever experienced that?
I don't think so. I mean, what would you consider I literally have not watched any horror movies, so poltergeist. I don't know.
Things that move, things that get thrown.
That happens all the time to me. It's like, yeah, that's every day. Like
That's small potatoes.
Or chairs being
everybody doesn't get stuff thrown at them. What are you talking about? Like at my mom's house, when my kids were young, my mother had that we called it. Well, actually, my youngest daughter, when she was 2, she told us who he was. His name was James H. She told us who he was, and he hates me. We had taken a big Pyrex dish out of the oven with, like molten lava, Southern cooking, and the damn thing slung across the kitchen at me. It didn't get me, but it could have got me. And then I had my back to this small grape mirror that my mother had on the wall, and I was talking and it shattered like right at the back of the chair. And then I almost killed my son over this one. He was probably 11 or so. My mother kept this dish of peppermint candy on the coffee table, and we were talking, and my son was right at it, and all of a sudden this is funny, but I was mad when it happened. A piece of peppermint candy nailed me right in the forehead, and I was hot. Like I went instant kill, like wanted to kill that kid because I thought he was jacking around and hit me in the head with that piece of peppermint. And my mom and dad were like, no, he didn't do it. We saw it happen. It just came right out of the bowl and hit you. And Matthew didn't even know what was going on. Like, he's just this kid, like, and mom's about to kill him, and he's got no clue. But you know how it is, like, when you're fine and then something, like, hits you or something, and you're just, like, instant mad. Like, you're not even processing.
Yeah.
You just know that something hits you in the head with a peppermint. And then it's just little stuff like that.
I was just wondering, just like, what would you think would cause that type of activity to exist in a place?
I think noise.
Noise?
I know at my mother's house, when my kids were young and it was very active, he was very active. But when like my kids grew up and it was just mom and dad at the house, it was pretty quiet. I mean, he would come like get in bed with mom sometimes, or my parents went, and I may be saying this wrong, but you'll get the gist of it. My parents were about to leave for vacation, and on my mom's computer was a picture of where they were going, but she had the computer off. So he makes it very aware that he's there. Me, I'm horrified of my mother's house, not just because things are like lava things thrown at me, but there is something about the woods around my mother's house. I do not go out at night. If I have not brought my luggage in when the sun is out, I'm sleeping in what I came in, or I'm borrowing some of mom's clothes. I am not stepping outside. And my mom just laughs at me and thinks that's the funniest thing, that I'm almost 50 years old and I'm scared of the dark. But there are things in the dark that people do not think about. And that is some very undealt with woods. In my parents, I used to research cemeteries for petroleum land companies. So like a lot of the African American graveyards were not allowed to be marked. They had to mark with like a tree that was not native, or a rock of some sort that wasn't from here. So all through East Texas, I would go around and I would ask, I would bring, gifts or money or something like that, and ask people to be able to see their Bibles, because that's where the heritage was of where people were buried. Or I would ask if they would mind if I could go out to the cemeteries, could they please show me where the cemeteries were, so that I could record, who was there and find out who the family were. And I had found out about the tree and the rock. Well, at my parents' house, when my dad bought it, in their front yard, we still don't know what kind of tree it was, but there was a tree that was as big around as a hood of a truck. It was massive, and they had to have it cut down because it had rotted, but it was not anything that was there. It wasn't a pine tree. It wasn't an oak tree, something that would be for there. And at the front of their road is this giant rock that everyone is scared to move, and it's too heavy to move. And we're talking East Texas. This is in a town called Centerville, Texas. So it's not like we have these massive iron ore rocks or something like this. It's a really odd rock up there. And I have always thought that my dad built his cabin on some kind of cemetery. And so that is my theory as to why something is going on out there. And I'm extremely sensitive to those kind of things, even to the point of when we went to look for a car when I was a teenager. This is probably the first time I really believed what I knew. We had gone to, I'm not going to say the dealership because I know the family, and anyway, it's a dealership back home. And we went there, and I told her, we have to leave. I hear Indians and they're mad, and I hear them, and I think we're on their graves. And that was the first time that it didn't matter what anyone told me. I don't care how much history you think you know or how much you've done on that place. There is nothing till the day I die and beyond that can convince me that there were not Native Americans buried there.
Wow.
Or were before someone dug them up and hit them to make sure the build could continue. But I absolutely knew. And that was the first time, I think I was probably 12. That was the first time that I actually knew something that couldn't be seen and absolutely believed it.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
It's crazy. And it is hard to not think you're crazy. It's hard to constantly reassure yourself that you're not making this stuff up, because it just seems so hard to believe that, a simpleton like myself would be able to have the abilities that I have, because I'm just, a human. I'm just a person. But it's the constant confirmation that keeps me going and keeps me confident in what I'm saying, because it is the times that, people will come back and say, a month later, a week later, that say, oh my God, we figured it out, or we found the will, or, it's the people who who I can actually help. Even if I just help one more person for the rest of my life, everything else was worth it, because that's one less human that's suffering, or one less spirit that's suffering, you know. And
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So if anybody that's that's watching the show or watches it on replay, how can they get a hold of you if they would like a reading or any type of help or reaching out? Is there a way?
They can find me on Facebook, on Michelle Gray, just Michelle Gray. And they can also find me at the Why Not Paranormal at Gmail. And it's just all lowercase. Eventually I'll do a podcast. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how to do it, because it sure looks like a lot of work. So I would like to be able to do something, but I hate seeing myself recorded. So it's really hard, like, to look back and hear yourself and go, oh man, hello.
That's what I sound like.
Like, I felt like I sounded a lot classier than I do, especially when I can't hide the East Texas accent in it like this, and it becomes really hard. Or if our people, we came from Scotland to Nova Scotia, and then we started coming down through the South, but we stayed a while in Georgia. And most people from East Texas, they spent a good amount of time in Georgia. So it's like they just hopped from Georgia to Tyler or Nacogdoches or any of that. And then somehow Louisiana just kind of dripped down in there too. So we have this really Georgian kind of little bit of Louisiana kind of thing. So don't give me Savannah, I sound ridiculous. Like, give me my parasol and my ruffles and let's go have, mint julep. It's ridiculous. I have to be so careful when we go to like Savannah or something, because it's like anything about Georgia it just gets mad. So I'm just like, hello, how are you? I don't want to say too much, because and then they either think you're one of them or they think you're making fun of them. So either way, it's not a good scenario.
Well, gosh, it's sure been wonderful having you on here.
Well, thank you. It's fun. You guys are fun.
We or at least I learned quite a bit by listening to you. It's very fascinating to listen to your life. And
now I have to admit that Carla is the most cordial human, because I straight up almost stood her up for lunch one day. I had to send her a message on Facebook. I lost track of time, and she was already there, and she was so cordial about it. So she is absolutely pleasant.
Thank you.
But anyway, but hopefully we can all start getting together. I want to start it like once a month in Granbury, kind of pulling local people, because there's got to be more of us around here. There's a lot. And we need that, because, why not? I mean, why not?
I think it'd be fun.
And I'm hoping that, we'll be able to pull in a lot more and get resources so that all of us can do that. To where I do what I do, and we find someone that can do this and do this and do this. And,
networking,
yeah.
huge.
Oh, I love it. And, everyone talks about para unity, but, I want more para integrity is what I want.
Yes.
If you don't have integrity, you're not going to have unity. If you're slimy, nobody can stick together if everybody just slides right off of you. So, we've got to worry more about integrity and what we do, and responsible for what we do and what we say, because when you have an ability, you have to be responsible for what you're putting out there. You don't, just because doesn't mean you have a right to share it all the time. You have to gauge where you're at and who you're around, and you have to be responsible enough. And if you have an ability, you should know the right time and the wrong time to be telling somebody something. You have got to have some integrity about yourself. when you're in this, and I can't with that comment. I just can't. It just threw me off of my soapbox. But,
no, man.
I just want more people to have integrity with what they're doing. And if I had to walk away before I become irresponsible or, a liar, then I will. I won't do it. So, but anyway.
I agree. I think a lot of people in this field, I mean, you can see it just looking at the para community that's out there, the nastiness that's out there. And there's times where, you straight up just have to walk away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's just, it's a lot. But I think that throughout time, I feel like it's probably going to happen this year, because a lot of people, they're getting called out for it, and people are going to branch off, and I think within 2024, 25, I think a lot of the ones who are being wrong about the things that they're doing, I think more people will find people like us who they can be around. And I think a lot of the power that those other people have, they're going to lose it, because we're not scared anymore. Yeah. We don't have to hide anymore. There's enough community now that we can find people who are honest and have integrity about what they do. And the rest of them who do the harassment and, the unwanted sexual advances and things like that, it's just not going to be accepted anymore, because we're just not going to accept it. I know I'm not going to accept it.
Right.
And I really
totally agree.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Well, not going to happen.
Excellent jumping off point.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, kids, stop being slimy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Slap a bow on it.
Yes,
well, thank you again so much, Michelle. We'll definitely stay in touch. We definitely have to do lunch, and we'll talk about like bringing you on some investigations, or even if it's virtually for a little bit. I think it'll be fun.
While she's
yay,
so
hi.
Look,
that's the Kraken.
So pretty.
Always the cute ones,
They're both cute.
Yeah. But so anyway, well, thank y'all so much. I really enjoyed it. And if anybody needs to get a hold of me, then you can reach out to any of my podcasts that I've been on. Everyone has my information. I just am not tech savvy, and I'm too busy tearing down walls and rebuilding stuff to have a bunch of
it.
Yeah.
For now, there was a time and place for everything, but it was fun.
Go
ahead, Adam.
I was gonna say really quick. I was gonna show my cat, but she's on my bed asleep, and I really don't want to show how my bed looks. But maybe after we go off live, because my bed looks like crap, and
Well, tell Jackie I said goodbye. I know she had to leave us early.
Yeah. Jackie said bye.
Oh, hey, that bougie foodie, that's my friend Teresa. She is amazing. She was one of the first people in paranormal that I had met, and I had dreamed about her years and years prior to. She has a food truck called the Bougie Foodie that she makes amazing tacos.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She's in Weatherford. So
really?
Oh.
Yes.
Well, let me jot that down.
If anybody needs a taco truck, she does good stuff.
Excellent.
I'll drive over.
That's right.
Yeah. She really enjoys those. I don't like doing the window, but give me some tomatoes to chop. I'll prep all day. I love that. It's like, how could you not enjoy like murdering a little tomato? You just keep doing it. So it's fun. But anyway, check her out. But she's really cool. She's cool. Y'all will all meet her sometime if we all get together. I'll bring her along.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will bring some tacos too.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
For
actually
sure.
Just bring the truck.
If I ever finish my house, she's doing the housewarming party, and she's actually going to make tacos for it. So
Oh, cool.
have to
We'll
come
all
out
be
with
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. She can do anything, pottery, jewelry,
Oh.
anything she can do. I have like a girl crush on her craft.
Aw.
Yeah, like
That's so sweet.
yeah, it's so good. All right, well, I'm gonna get off here.
Yay.
All right.
Well,
Thank you
thanks
again
everybody
so
for
much.
joining us.
Good night.
Good night. We'll see you
Good
on the next
night.
one, y'all.
See
Good
ya. Couple
night.